What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Hangout Spot, where we discuss real talk, sports talk, live from my man cave. It's your boy Johnny, and let's get into discussing yesterday's Jets versus Giants Battle of New York football game, which ended with the Jets defeating the Giants 13-10 in overtime in what I would probably call the worst football game I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, it was absolutely horrendous. I mean, you can start by saying that the conditions were bad. Pre-game, there was a constant steady flow of rain the entire game, so you knew it was going to be sloppy. I said in my pre-game prediction video that this would be an ugly game, that I thought the Jets would win 19-20 to 13. I did get the ugly part right, and fortunately I got the prediction right. The Jets ended up winning this game. I don't know how they did it, to be honest with you. I mean, they were very, very lucky to come out of that stadium yesterday with a victory, with the way they played on the offensive side of the football, which we'll get into in a second. But it was just, I mean, everything that could have went wrong in that game went wrong. I mean, there were injuries, there were dropped passes, there were missed field goals, there were a shitload of stupid penalties, especially in the Jets' part, which we'll get into in a second as well. But defensively, and there really wasn't anything that happened yesterday that I didn't believe was going to happen as far as game planning. I knew that the Giants would come out, and play some strong defense. I knew they were going to come out and blitz. They did do that. They played very well on defense. Thibodeau was an absolute beast, game wrecker, in the backfield the entire football game. And then the Jets defensively, obviously, they were sound. They played their consistent brand of dominant football on that end. But I mean, offensively, we were terrible. Zach Wilson, in my opinion, regressed yesterday. His footwork wasn't good. Reminded me of a lot of those games that I saw during his first two seasons as a starter. And that was an area of emphasis where I thought that he has made some improvements. Yesterday didn't look like he had. He was inaccurate. He didn't throw any interceptions. And again, some people are going to say, well, at least he didn't turn the ball over. But he did. Even though he didn't throw interceptions, he fumbled, twice, and gave the ball back to the Giants twice. But the game calling, I mean, this wasn't one of Hackett's better games that he's called. Didn't do the offense any favors in that aspect. But this kid continues to miss open receivers. He's not seeing the entire field. He's taking unnecessary sacks. I mean, there were 2 sacks that he took late in that game that I thought pretty much sealed the deal for the Giants to beat us. One of them was on a 4th and 10. Where you're just yelling at the TV like, dude, just throw the football, throw it to anybody, do not take a sack, and these are plays that before the ball is hiked, as fans, we're yelling at I'm yelling at the TV saying you cannot take a sack here, and then he goes and takes a sack. But gave the Giants had the ball back. They ended up attempting a field goal that they missed, so it gave us the ball back with, I believe it was 28 seconds or something like that, and Zach made 2 passes. One of them was over the middle to Garrett Wilson on a play that Kayvon Thibodeau jumped offside, so it was basically a free play. But it was a good throw up the middle. Garrett Wilson caught it. They got back to the line. And then his next pass, he rolled out to the right after getting some pressure from the line, from the Giants' defensive line. I believe it was Dexter Lawrence that got in the backfield, chased him out to the right, and he throws over the middle to Lazard. Lazard catches it, which, I thought it was a miracle that he did because he had dropped a couple of passes, during that game. But he did catch the ball and ran upfield a bit, and like I still don't believe that they actually got up to the line of scrimmage fast enough to spike the ball with 1 second left, but they did. So they definitely learned something from that Denver game where they botched that up right before the half. But and then Zuerlein ties it, and and the rest is history from there. In overtime, Zach throws a deep pass. Finally, he threw a deep pass. I'd been, most fans, including myself, been yelling at the TV like, you got to get the ball down the field, or try some vertical passes. But they never did. Their offense was very conservative. But anyway, he threw the ball down the field. One of the Giants' corners got called for pass interference, which put us in a position to set up a game-winning field goal by Sirline, which even that one, I mean, he hooked that one. I thought, personally, after he kicked it, I thought he hooked it left. But it ended up getting in there, and we escaped with a victory. But I don't know how to feel about this one, really. I mean, I'm a Jet fan, and even I don't think that they deserve. To be honest with you, I don't think either team deserved to win. There was a point when they tied this game before the coin toss that I looked up and said, you know what, it's only fitting that this game ends in a tie, and it probably will. Neither one of these teams can score. They weren't good today. It'd be fitting that they ended in a tie, but we came out with the victory. Listen, I guess one can say it's better to win ugly than lose pretty. At the end of the day, it is a win on the standings. We are 4-3. It's a lot easier to go into next week's Monday night game against the Chargers, at 4-3 rather than 3-4. We're currently in the playoff mix, so I guess that's a good thing. But it doesn't give me, yesterday's performance doesn't give me any confidence that we're going to be able to hang with the big boys with these playoff teams. We got some winnable games, in my opinion, if we play good, sound offensive football. But with the Jets, nothing's going to be easy. Nothing's a given. And it all depends on how we look offensively, because this team will go as far as the defense takes us, but you cannot expect the defense to win games for us week in and week out. It's working now. For the most part, but it's not sustainable. We have to get consistent offensive play, and I can't understand, why this kid can't put this thing together. I mean, he's been in the league. This is his third season. He's been the starter, since game one. I mean, since the second series of the first game. He's had time every week to work with the first team offense in practice, and Salo will rant and rave in his post game press conferences of how good this kid is in practice. Well, who gives a shit about that? To be honest with you, I don't care how good he looks in practice. I want to see it during the game. We want to see it during the game. That's when it counts. And in my opinion, I mean, this kid just has to be coached hard. I think that for the most part, he's babied. And they're trying to do everything that they could possibly can to make it comfortable for him. Well, you know what? Maybe you need to make it a little bit uncomfortable. And coach this kid hard and sit him down, for a quarter or two. I mean, I just don't understand this whole thing about, just keeping him in there. If he's not effective, then pull him out. Let the backup quarterback go in there and hopefully provide a spark for us offensively. And if the backup quarterback is even worse than him, then why is he on the team? That's what I don't understand. If you have no confidence that the backup quarterback can come in and do a better job than a guy who's basically not doing shit, then why is he on the team? Why are you dressing him? Go get yourself a quarterback that you're going to be able to trust in situations where if your starter isn't effective or if he gets hurt, you know that you have enough trust and confidence in that next guy to get it done. Tim Boyle is wearing a uniform, and it seems painfully obvious that the Jets have no confidence in ever putting him or wanting to putting him into a game. So if that's the case, then dress Simeon, make him the backup, because I don't think personally I don't think it's ever going to be a bad idea that if a quarterback is ineffective that you pull him. I mean, pitchers in baseball aren't effective all the time. They get pulled for relief pitchers all the time. In the games. I mean, it doesn't hurt their psyche. They got to go out there and they work, and they got to be better the next time around. That's what it is. That's what relief pitching is all about. That's what a backup position should be all about. So I just don't get it, man. I really don't. And, but it is what it is. This is who they're riding with. So he does show flashes, which is the most annoying part. About his game. I mean, we know that the talent is there. We know he has athletic ability. I think he needs to run a little bit more. It might help him, see the field a little bit better, open up things a little bit more in the middle. But they also have to mix it up a little bit and give him a little bit, give him a little bit help. Maybe some end arounds or some bubble screens, something, some plays to enable him to get rid of the ball quick and gain some confidence there. It can't just be, drop back and look down the field, 10, 15 yards. That's becoming too predictable. But, sooner or later, like I said, the talent's there. Nobody can deny the Jets' talent. They have talent. I mean, Garrett Wilson is an absolute stud. Breece Hall is, in my opinion, probably the most dynamic running back in the league. I mean, he's basically, and every play he touches the ball, he's a home run threat. So there is talent on this team. The offensive line has been makeshift here and there, but it's crazy part about yesterday is that there was two key injuries in the line, and we had to have basically a third string player play center for us. And 2 of those sacks that he took in the end had nothing to do with poor offensive line play. There was plenty of time for Zach to go back and throw the ball away or chuck it to somebody downfield, and he just held on to it. So it wasn't even their fault. And that's the frustrating part. This team is ready. This team is ready to compete with anybody in the AFC. I firmly believe if we had a good quarterback, we'd be a Super Bowl contender. And that's the most annoying part about watching the Jets every week. The talent is there. We just need a quarterback that's going to be consistent enough and competent enough to be able to get the ball into the end zone and allow our defense to cook and do what they do best. And then last but not least, man, Salah's got to get on on this team. I mean, the undiscipline is just bullshit. I mean, 9 penalties for almost 100 yards. I mean, and just stupid penalties. And I understand that this team is aggressive. I mean, they like to fly around the football, but I mean, the rules are the rules, man. I mean, late hits, allowing the other team to get under your skin, personal fouls. I mean, that last penalty by Michael Clemens on a 4th and 5, Giants are getting ready to punt, from their end zone, and you jump off sides and give them a first down. I mean, that's just stupid. It's stupidity. And you look at Salah, and I'm like, why is he not getting, on these guys in the sideline? Like, come on, get your head out of your rear end. And focus and become more disciplined. I mean, this is ridiculous. And and yesterday it was just a domino effect. I mean, the Jets did everything they could possibly do to lose this game. At one point, I'm thinking to myself, how the hell are we going to lose this game when their second or third string, whatever you want to call it, Tommy DeVito, comes in and he isn't even allowed to throw a pass. He didn't even throw a pass in the entire second half. They literally just ran the ball with Saquon Barkley the entire second half, and almost beat us. It was crazy. Like I said, I don't know how to feel about it. Definitely not a win that I want to brag about. It is a win. I'll take it. The Jets are lucky that they escaped out of there with a victory, but man, there's a lot of work to be done, a lot of shit to be cleaned up before next Monday night game against the Chargers, which, in my opinion, the Chargers are going to come in there. They're another team that everybody was predicting to be a playoff team. They haven't been playing their best football, so they're going to be looking forward and chomping at the bit, looking at us saying, this is a winnable game on national TV. We got to come ready. On our home turf. To beat the Chargers. We got the Raiders after that, which I also think is a winnable game. But with this team and their lack of offensive consistency, you just never know. It'd be nice for us to be able to get a 2-touchdown or a 10-point lead and just have our defense just cook and play with a lead. I mean, it just never happens. And that's the frustrating part about being a fan of this team, because we're right there. We have that talent to be a consistent playoff contending, Super Bowl contending team. And that's why we were all demoralized when Aaron Rodgers went down. But in the same aspect, we were optimistic. I know I was, because we did have some talent around Zach this time around. But he's got to get his shit together. I'm sorry, he's got to be coached hard. And if he doesn't get his shit together, then Douglas and they have to make some tough decisions. But we can't just throw away a season, because the quarterback isn't going to give us consistent play. It's just it's not fair. It's not fair to the players in the locker room. It's not fair to the fans. But anyhow, I'll be making a video later on this week where we'll talk a little bit about the Charger game and kind of give my takes on that and my prediction. But let me know what you think in the comment section. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, and subscribe. I appreciate you coming out and hanging out with me in the Man Cave. But until then, we'll talk later on this week. Take care.